The surest way to work up a crusade in favor of some good cause is to promise people they will have a chance of maltreating someone. To be able to destroy with good conscience, to be able to behave badly and call your bad behavior righteous indignation. This is the height of psychological luxury, the most delicious of mortal treats. These were the words of psychedelic pioneer Aldous Huxley, a man who was not just a devout student of the expansion of consciousness, but a devout student of human nature and human history. One reflects on this quote when realizing the significance of today. You see, today is See-Say Day, according to the Department of Homeland Security. That's right, guys. See something, say something within reason. Now, this seems innocuous enough, referring back to Huxley's quote about being able to destroy with good conscience, turning innocuous things against your enemies, to call your bad behavior righteous indignation. Don't think for 2 seconds that a weaponized DHS and a weaponized DOJ aren't preying on that. And if you doubt the significance of that for a second, I'm going to refer you to this incident earlier in the week, where a North Dakota man decided to run over this teenager, a kid, on the right. And his justification, his admitted, outspoken justification, was that this kid was a member of a right-wing extremist group. I wonder if that sounds vaguely familiar, like it could be tied to the rhetoric of, oh, I don't know, an important leader of the nation or something that I might have a vague recollection of having heard recently. Funny how they play those word games, referring to that. The basic tool for the manipulation of reality is the manipulation of words. If you can control the meaning of words, you can control the people who must use the words. Now, these were the words of Philip K. Dick. You've heard me go on in one incarnation or another about controlling the stimulus and therefore controlling the response. This can manifest itself in a whole lot of ways, but I'm reflective on it this week. Banned Books Week. That's correct, boys and girls. We just passed it. Not a lot could be made of it on my personal page or my fan page, because I was banned. You guys can see the circumstances of that for yourselves. My buddy Moses up in Montana has been good enough to post the important details. Once again, these are the people who are telling us that books unite us, but censorship divides us. You know, right before censoring stuff. Now, you guys know where I'm at on the First Amendment. You know I am an absolutist. And when I say absolutist, I mean absolutist. You do have the right to yell fire in a crowded theater, leaving aside the Supreme Court decision that is the source of that quote for its limitation. You do have the right to yell fire in a crowded theater. However, everyone else has the right to beat your ass into a bloody pulp once they figure out there's not really a fire. You see, essentially non-regulating, or self-regulating rather. But when Banned Books Week comes along, it always brings out the sanctimony, particularly among the left. Now, the left and I find common ground on anti-censorship sentiments, when their favorites are on the line. Favorites like To Kill a Mockingbird, favorites like The Story of O. But it's funny how they never seem to want to return the courtesy when the would-be censored books in question are, well, here's just a few examples off my personal shelf. Oklahoma City Bombing and the Politics of Terror. This was published by Adam Parfrey of Feral House and was legitimately banned. And when I mean banned, I mean every copy that had not already been distributed was pulled from all distributors, pulled from all bookstore shelves, and forcibly destroyed at the behest of the United States government. I just happened to come up with a copy before the ban went into effect, and I'm hanging on to it with both feet. Feds, if you want to come get it, you know where to find me. Here's another example. This book right here, Hitman, used to be published by Paladin Press. Now, if you can find an off copy at a gun show, plan on paying $100 to $200 for it. And a copy of this sits on my shelf. That is correct. It couldn't be de facto banned by the United States government, but the United States government put so much pressure on Paladin Press that de facto they had to pull it. Now, is it a First Amendment violation? We can dicker around with semantics all day long, but the final result result is that this book was pulled. How about this one? The Complete Patriot. No, can't have that. Philip Marsh's seminal work, which I picked up a copy of back in the early 90s, by the way, and can no longer be found, has been out of print for a long time. Again, pushed out of the market for encouraging right-wing extremism. How about The Predatory Female? Try finding a copy of this one. You may be able to find one in the secondhand market, maybe on eBay, maybe on Amazon from a used distributor. Expect to pay a lot of money for it because, again, this one, in the modern-day climate, encourages sexism. The same people that want To Kill a Mockingbird and the story of O freely distributed would gladly turn on a dime and ban this book or any of the ones that preceded, and certainly the two that followed. That's right, the Turner Diaries. I have not one but two copies of this work by Andrew MacDonald, a pen name for a certain person who I will get banned from YouTube for even mentioning. However, again, if you can find a copy of this, expect to pay upwards of $150 to $200 for it. It has been de facto banned. That doesn't mean that they're going into the bookstores. That doesn't mean that they're going into people's homes and confiscating it. It just means that the government and private industry, private big tech companies, the media, have put so much pressure on the publisher and painted him in such a negative light that eventually the de facto result is this book is suppressed. But we don't have to go that deep. How about this one? Totally mainstream. That's right. Charles Murray and Herrenstein's seminal book, The Bell Curve, Intelligence and Class Structure in American Life. Now, you will hear 1,000,001 people tell you that this one's been thoroughly debunked, and yet can never find evidence of any arguments to the contrary of the information that's presented. You just say it's been debunked enough times. You just call it racist enough times, and it'll eventually be pulled from the shelves if those people have their way. Now, currently they do not, but the march of censorship is inexorable. Make no mistake about that, and if you doubt it for 2 seconds, you might want to take a look at a history book. But Banned Books Week falls at the end of, that's right, National Preparedness Month. Again, the unprincipled double standard. Here, this graphic was actually pulled from an Illinois Democrats website. September is National Preparedness Month. The life you've built is worth protecting. Prepare for disasters to create a lasting legacy for you and your family. This is absolutely a proper sentiment. I just find it hysterical that I'm pulling it from a website from Illinois Democrats, the same party that says if you are taking necessary preparedness moves like putting away food, having guns in your house, having a water supply, first aid kits, that you may be, you got it, you guys know the buzzword, right-wing extremists. That's right, boys and girls. So they're going to gaslight you. They're going to tell you that they want you to be prepared. And when you take the steps to prepare yourself, suddenly you play right into their hands and you are a right-wing extremist. This is the nature of propaganda. We all know about propaganda, don't we? Control the media controls us, control the stimulus, control the response. That's right, control the perception, control the reality. What did Orwell have to say about that? Journalism, as distinguished from propaganda, journalism is printing what someone else does not want printed. Everything else is public relations. I would extend that definition to the actual word propaganda. You remember a certain young man by the name of Albert Einstein? Yeah, well, we could dicker about the case about him being a plagiarist and all the other negative things that you could definitely make a case for about Albert Einstein. But we're not going to go into that just this second. The importance of Albert Einstein was he was once asked, with what weapons will World War III be fought? And his response was, I can't tell you what weapons will be used to fight World War III, but I can tell you that World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. As we head into the next major war, it doesn't have to be a war of population control as long as it is a war won in terms of perception control. Take a look at the graphic. It speaks for itself, does it not? And we had better take good heed of this. Take deep heed of this. Keep your mind sharp, be able to distinguish between the signal and the noise, because with the push that's going on right now, the only banned books problem we're going to have to deal with is reading in a burned out, bombed out library. To coin a phrase from a Twilight Zone role of Burgess Meredith, time enough at last, time enough at last. The opinions expressed by the Reverend are his own and no one else's on the planet. Not friends, not foes, not supporters, not detractors, not sponsors. And I cannot stress this enough, certainly not employers. They have been adjudicated thought crime in all jurisdictions. Consider yourself warned. They are coming from the heart. They are guided by the mind, and they are guaranteed to choke you with a big, fat dose of swollen, turgid, thorny, erect truth cock. Open wide, boys and girls. It's time once again for the Sunday sermon. You knew I had to squeeze Orwell in there somewhere, but I had to balance it with Huxley, and we're going to get into both a little bit later on. But right now, where's the fire? Everybody in for the drum roll! Hard charging out of the starting gate as always. The bumper music, Red Desert. From the smoldering embers of the once great city of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Name of the band is Red Desert. The name of the track is Older, No Wiser. Every week I get on here, I get a little bit older. You guys get to decide if I've gotten any wiser. Some weeks I do better than others. This one might be it. It might not. We'll see, man. I'm just kind of winging it. Let's go down the roll call and see who all's here. Of course, original Sinner Sister herself, Miss Emmy. She got on way early and then had to duck back out for a minute. Now she's back. By the way, Emmy, take a look. I think your Facebook account might have been hacked. I saw Mike post something, and anyway, yeah, you might want to take a look at that. I got the same request. I'm not clicking on it, but yeah, take a look at it. Your account might have gotten hacked, so be careful out there, baby. They're gunning for us. Brother Roman from opiumtales.com and his lovely wife Carrie is also on board. They are the erotic pinup supporters people. We'll be talking about them a little bit more here in a bit. Brother Joel Allen Jackson on board, man. The usual suspects have all arrived. Some of you guys might not be making it to a little bit later, and I totally understand that. I've been banned once again from Facebook. We'll get into the details of that. For those of you guys that missed what I had my boy Moses, and every time I got to drag Moses out of the woodwork, he becomes less and less fond of me. We've got some history, some of which we can talk about, but then there's stuff like the Vladivostok incident that we're not going to be discussing ever, unless you get to sit down and have coffee with us personally. Let me see here. Oh yeah, you dig this shirt? Yeah, I'm gonna show everybody this shirt. Brother Mike on board. Nice to see you. You dig it? Okay. For those of you guys that can't see all of it, oh, that was you. All right, cool. Well, do what you got to do. Let me know when you're back up and running again. Damn those fucking passwords, man. They're easy to forget. Yeah. So anyway, rope tree journalist. Some assembly required. Now, some of you guys are going to bristle quite correctly, especially when I just went off on a fucking tirade about being a First Amendment absolutist. Guys, this is not reflective of my views on the First Amendment. This is just a hearty hi-ho fuck you to all those people who will take advantage. Bodie! Boom! Hey, what's going on, man? Nice to have you on board, brother. Guys that will take advantage, that will mask themselves, hide behind the First Amendment because they know as a principled person, I'm not going to fucking take advantage of it. This is my little fuck you, all right? Now, you guys got to know, man, if they're out there legit hanging people, right? Day of the something. Oh, day of the something. Something starts with R. Can't say it here on YouTube or I will be instantly banned. Twitter actually kicked me down for that one. Anyway, yeah, if they were actually out hanging journalists, I'd be the first person out there with my fist in the air going, nah, this ain't right, man. It's not right. But that's where we're at. They never return the courtesy. So this is my, my humorous little fuck you to those people. They can pick it to death. They can dox me. They can do whatever the fuck they want. I am so far beyond caring with these assholes at this point. Brother Ryan on board. Yes, indeed. Like and share, please. We've got to kick that up in the algorithm. Algorithm, that's my college word. I don't even know what that one means. But I got like 3 of those. I know what the other 2 mean. Vaguely. I don't know. Somewhere. Man, I am fucking charged, bro. I am charged. Just a couple hours ago, I got in my first proper lift since the surgery, properly supplemented, of course. My vitamin and supplement supplier has just gotten out of the business, and I lucked out and I got the last 6 bottles of one particular thing. If I'd have known, I'd have gotten there earlier and bought him out. Jesus Christ, this firewater is freaking amazing. Wow. Yeah. So, I got out in the garage. I'm back here in Spokane, recovering from the surgery, as you know. Coming to you live from the command center level of the BART bunker in Spokane, Washington. Got to go out in the garage, put myself under some iron, get a little lift on. I'm pretty charged up, man, but my mind is scattered as fuck. I mean, more so than usual, because god damn it, man. 50 milligrams of testosterone suspension and 50 milligrams of tren in a water base. Yeah, if you guys are out there and you know, well, then you fucking know, don't you? Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and fade the music out so we can get into the meat of this thing. Of course, first and foremost, the sponsor shout-outs. My brother Roman and his lovely wife Carrie and Roxy and Allie and the bevy of beautiful women over at opiumtales.com. They are the erotic pinups and portraits people. Fine watercolor work from a true creative dear friend of mine, and that is supplemented, of course, with testosterone driven commentary. What's not to like? Emily, speaking of books, Chris Tritico, who defended Timothy McVeigh for a poli-sci class, and Tritico had the only copy of McVeigh's book left in existence. He let me read the first chapter. Holy fuck. I'm gonna have to look into that. Ryan, how's your attitude on the trend? Right now, festive. Because I'm not interacting with people. Right now, I'm festive. I'm energetic. Okay, if I have to interact with people, that could turn. That could turn on a fucking dime. Tren, for those of you that don't know, Tren is the murder steroid. Legit, man. I don't think they've ever done a categorical study on it, but I think if they ever put the time and effort into doing a study, I would think that probably 90% of roid rage violent incidents are probably based on the use of trenbolone acetate. It is amazing in its physical effects, in strength and recovery and every reason you do roids in the first place. But tren is fucking vicious, man. I mean, like, it will definitely jack your shit up. It's not for beginners, and even if you're an experienced player, I recommend that you go light. And again, I'm taking the proper precautions on all fronts. Before let me get the other sponsor shout out first. We'll get more into it. My Viking brothers, Casey and Dusty Tellison at Nordic Smoke Barbecue, the only legit barbecue in the inland Northwest. Yeah, but what about go fuck yourself? You're wrong. Sit down. No, you, Sparky, sit down. Shut the fuck up. You're wrong. Nordic Smoke, the only legit barbecue in the inland Northwest. Period. End of statement. Fucking done. Casey and Dusty Tellison, man. I freaking love those guys. They are going to be back out on patrol with the Viking Longship, the big smoker trailer, and they're going to be setting up. There's going to be a few changes on that front. I'll keep you guys posted on my personal page and my fan page, which I will be back to in about 3 more days. I'm going to give everybody the lowdown on that. So that's where we're at, boys and girls. With regard to the trend, that's why I'm glad it's 100 milligrams. It's 100 milligrams per C, and I'm doing 1C about 2 or 3 times a week, and that 100 milligrams is split 50-50 between the test and the tren. And again, it's water based. For those of you that don't know, most of the stuff that you do, the injectable steroids, are oil based. So you get up to this level, and then it's like, and it kind of plateaus out, and then it just like slowly fucking drags off. The water based stuff is just whoosh, boom, whoosh, boom, whoosh, boom. 1 minute it's like, God damn it, I'm gonna skull rape you. Somebody just hold me. It's like voluntarily giving yourself PMS for like months at a time. It's 1 star out of 5. Definitely can't recommend it. But having said all that, I'm doing an oil base underneath. So instead of like the big crashes, I'm going up and then crashing into the previous peak from the oil-based Sustanon that I'm also doing. So it's, do your homework on it. Again, you guys know I don't make any bones about it. I'm a very big advocate for performance enhancing drugs. I am a very big advocate for psychedelics. I never make any bones about that. However, on both of those fronts, I encourage you to do your own fucking homework. Don't just jump in and be like, right on, dude. And that's responsible. That's totally responsible. Um, don't just be like, oh man, well the Rev, fuck, he's dude. Listen, if I'm taking a gallon, your ass better take a fucking pint. I've been at this for a minute, youngster. So you might wanna ease up on that, Sparky. Anyway, kids, really briefly, I'm gonna refer you to, and again, once again, thanks to my buddy Moses over in Montana. He's got his Starlink up, and he hates hearing from me. I mean, he fucking hates hearing from me. I feel like we're not as close as we once were. Because the only time I've been bugging him generally is when I'm fucking on ban and I got to get him to fucking jump in and post some stuff for me. Um, but here's essentially what happened. You guys remember 2 years ago, and I'm sure some of you out there, especially if you're watching on Twitter, um, uh, 2 years ago, just in the run up to the 2020 election, I got hit with a bullshit 7-day ban, which, at that point I was just happy that it wasn't a longer ban. But here's the kicker, along with that 7-day ban, and this is the only time, these two times are the only times I've ever done this. We're going to ban you for 7 days, but you can't go live for 30. And again, the only two times this has happened, the only two times this has happened, were in the run up to the 2020 election and now. Literally two years almost to the day. In fact, in my Facebook memories feature, it popped up. And again, okay, so I was on Twitter and I made the comment on Twitter in response. It wasn't even a tweet, it was a response to a tweet. A guy was talking about the Proud Boys being white nationalists. And, I just told him that he needed to use Occam's razor for something besides shaving his balls. Or maybe, just maybe, Sparky, the Proud Boys aren't white nationalists. But in the post, which automatically reposted to the fan page, they picked up Proud Boys and white nationalists in the same fucking post. The algorithm kicks on the buzzwords, boom, instant 30-day ban. I appealed it. You guys have heard I've been relatively successful with my appeals over the course of this year. I've got like 4 successful appeals now, where they hit me with that, and I pointed out, it's like, no, dude, I'm not rolling over and playing dead. This is not in violation of community standards. Restore my fucking account. So I did that, and they're like, yes, we're wrong, and they restored the account. Literally an hour later, right? An hour later, they pulled a post from July, okay, on the fan page. And they said, we're banning you for that, right? And again, it was just a 7-day ban, but the 30-day ban going live. And I'm like, no, dude, because A, you already dinged me for that, and I appealed it, and you guys conceded you were wrong. This was something that they'd already dinged me for, and that I had appealed, and that they restored my account from back in July, okay? So they restored my account literally minutes after that happened. Minutes after that happened, they suspended me again for a meme that I posted in June. It was a meme. June or July. It was right about the time that Joe Biden had his little bike accident, right? And it was a meme that was making fun of that, and it had a scantily clad Hunter Biden, wearing his little loincloth or whatever the fuck he was wearing in the background, right? They dinged me for sexually explicit material and reinstated the ban for 7 days and kicked me off for 30 days going live. Don't tell me that it's a talking point. Don't tell me that it's a coincidence. Don't tell me that it's a legit violation of their community standards. Fucking stop it. If you don't want to believe that yourself, that's fine. But, Senator, don't piss down my back and tell me it's raining. And if somebody can tell me, what movie, without Google cheating, if somebody can tell me what movie that reference comes from, I'll be duly impressed. A little sip of old school liquid enthusiasm out of the battle bottle, and we're going to jump into this thing. First and foremost, let's jump right into this one, what everybody's been waiting for, Ryan's rabbit hole. I do not have the applause sound effect on this particular soundboard, but dum, 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 this week, you guys know about the rabbit hole. Ryan and I are both repositories of useless information. And every week we take outside the boundary of the subject matter for the week, and some weeks we go conspiratorial, some weeks we go philosophical. This week we're going historical, but with some conspiratorial overtones. Just a couple of weeks ago, yeah, clever, well done, Rowan, well done. Just a couple of weeks ago, we celebrated the 21st anniversary of 9/11. Now, we went on at length on that anniversary of 9/11 show about the stupidity of the official story. About you can choose to believe the David Icke nut job shit, or you could choose not to believe. This speculation is as good as that speculation. But the one thing that you know for sure is that the official story is bullshit. This would be example number one, the Bojinka plot. And for those of you who need it, I'll just spell it out for you. Bojinka, the Bojinka plot. Now, what do we know about the official story of 9/11? What did Condoleezza Rice, what did Powell get up and say in front of the 9/11 Commission? That there was no way that we could have anticipated passenger aircraft being used as projectile weapons. We never could have anticipated that. It was totally out of the blue, caught us by surprise. You can't have even reasonably expected us to have anticipated that. Well, even without the Bojinka plot, I'm going to call bullshit based on two words, and those words would be Chris Carter. Yeah. Chris Carter. What do we know Chris Carter from? Chris Carter was the creator of a show called The X-Files, and there was a spin-off show from The X-Files called The Lone Gunman. You remember The Lone Gunman? If you're an X-Files fan, you remember Langley, Byers, and Frohickey, the three little, conspiracy nerds that had their little put-together fanzine, whatever. In the series premiere, in the pilot of The Lone Gunman, the plot involved, wait for it, using a passenger airline crashing into the World Trade Center to justify foreign wars and line the pockets of defense contractors. Okay, so Colin Powell and Condoleezza Rice and the entire U.S. intelligence establishment could not have possibly anticipated that they would have used passenger jet. But Chris Carter, the X-Files guy, he fucking figured it out because he's just that goddamn brilliant. Okay? That would have been the first call of bullshit. There you go, brother. There you go. The outlaw Josie Wales. There you go. He is sending Josie's old fucking CO after him, and he's selling it to him about how it's his duty to the union and every other fucking thing. And he looks at him. He says, "Senator, don't piss down my back and tell me it's raining." Brilliant. Anyway, leaving aside, let me tell you what the rabbit hole is this week. The Bojinka plot. Now this. See if these two names sound familiar. Ramzi Youssef and Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Like we may have heard those names post 9/11, right? When we'd already taken out Saddam, when we'd already taken out bin Laden, and suddenly we were all out of boogeymen, and then all of a sudden Ramzi Youssef and Khalid Sheikh Mohammed cross the national narrative again. This is the thing about the Bojinka plot. This dates all the way back to 1995. And, are you ready for this? It involved, take a guess, you guys know where this is headed, okay? It involved, as part and parcel of the project, was crashing a 747 into important monuments. That's right. The Pentagon was on the target list. There were a number of West Coast targets that were on the list for a passenger aircraft, specifically a Boeing 747, which if you've ever seen a 747, holy fuck, those things are huge. Um, you guys have probably flown on 737s. You guys have probably flown on maybe even 757s. Um, you've flown on Airbus 320s. That's generally the commercial fleet. 747s are fucking huge planes that take fucking huge fuel loads. Um, we know that burning jet fuel can't melt sheet metal, okay, but just from the impact of a 747 into any of these possible fucking things, and keep in mind, we're not talking just one, okay? We're talking about upwards of 14, depending on which version of the story you believe. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and Ramzi Youssef put this plot together in 1995. And the only way it was discovered was one incident in Manila in the Philippines and one incident in Jakarta, Indonesia, where bombs went off prematurely or people got rooted out or specific cells got rooted out. That's the only way it was fucking discovered. Now, after it was discovered, of course, the United States intelligence apparatus had access to the full width and breadth of the operation. They knew the faces. They knew who Ramzi Youssef was. They knew who Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was. They knew that they were planning on simultaneously bombing up to 14 passenger aircraft and flying a 747 into politically or economically important targets here in the continental United States. The entire United States intelligence apparatus was aware of it. The CIA, the NSA, a dozen different agencies that you probably never fucking heard of, the FBI, the ATF, the DOJ, which is the blanket umbrella for the FBI. In any case, they knew. They knew. This plot was old fucking news. And here's the deal. It was never discussed in the U.S. press. Never once discussed. Between 1995 and 2001, when the September 11th attacks happened, never once was it discussed in the U.S. press with any depth. It might have been glossed over. Hey, a terror plot. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, what's up, Tom? Hey, good to see you, brother. Glad to have you on board. And I got to tell you, I got to meet Tom the other night. I got to meet him. What is it? what do those crazy internet kids say? IRL, in real life. Got to meet Tom in real life the other night. Got to hang out, and probably after we get done with the sermon, I'm going to be hanging out. We're going to be grabbing coffee. He's going to swing by and see the gym. So, Tom, good to have you on board. Just kind of be patient with me while I work this out. But that is your rabbit hole, man. The Bojinka plot. Bojinka. Never discussed in any depth. Rooted back as far as 1995. Now, keep in mind, that is a 6-year gap. A 6-year gap. And yet, the official narrative remains, we couldn't have possibly anticipated such a thing. We never could have seen that coming. Again, what you choose to believe, I leave to you. Your speculation is as good as mine. Maybe you believe it was controlled demolition. Maybe you just believe it was prior knowledge and allowed to happen. Maybe you believe that the elders of Zion and the gnomes of Zurich were conspiring with the Council of 12, led by, the blood drinking, shape-shifting lizard, reptilian aliens, whatever the fuck. Your speculation is as good as mine. But what I can tell you, especially in light of the Bojinka plot, is that the official narrative, as I've said before 1,000,001 fucking times, the official narrative is always bullshit. The Bojinka plot, that is your rabbit hole for the week. Look it up, the Bojinka plot, Bojinka. Take a look at it. Go down that rabbit hole as far as you feel comfortable and get ready to have some of your preconceived notions shaken the fuck up. I blame the Rosicrucians. I think you can still blame the Rosicrucians. I think that's still allowed in modern media culture. I think you're still allowed to blame you can blame the Rosicrucians. You can't. There's one ethnicity. There's one ethnicity that you're just not allowed to blame for any of that stuff. I can't. I can't think of them, but I don't know. It's an ethnicity that's tied to, I don't know. You're not allowed to blame those guys, but the Rosicrucians, yeah, still okay. Probably the Southern Baptists too. If you really thought that that the Jimmy Swaggart crowd had that kind of stroke, you could probably blame the Southern Baptists as well. So there's that. Oh, look at that! Look who decided to join us, man. We got Joey the Sultan of Sarcasm. Good to have you on board. Mike from the earlier commentary. Been on 747, A380, and a Dreamliner. They are insanely huge. Yes, they are, my friend. My exposure to the 747, Mike, was I was working the ramp for Delta, which you guys may or may not remember. And yeah, I'm thirsty as fuck, man, because that test and that trend is hammering the piss out of me right now, figuratively and literally. So I'm, it's like, Jesus, man, do you need any more caffeine? No, I don't. I just need the water. I need the water that's holding the caffeine. Please don't judge me. Vibrate myself stupid here. My exposure to the 747 was when I worked for Delta. We are, okay, so we've got GEG, Geiger Field, GEG, the Spokane International Airport, and we're right across from another airstrip where they have a bunch of huge hangars out there where they service all kinds of aircraft from all over the world. I have seen C-5s fly into that motherfucker. I have seen Antonovs. I've seen Russian Antonov cargo planes land on that fucking airstrip. You want to talk about fucking huge. Jesus Christ. But they had a 747 over there, and they were doing some repairs on it. And they rolled it out after it'd been there like a week and a half. They were doing like repairs, reconditioning, all that kind of stuff. They rolled it out onto the airstrip, and I was there on the noon turns. We're at the ass end of the noon turn, and we're pushing out the 2 o'clock Seattle, I think. And it was an Embraer, a small passenger jet. So we're pushing out the 2 o'clock Seattle, which is an Embraer. And so we're walked out onto, the tarmac right by the runway, and the Embraer pushes, and right then they're fired, and we're like probably 100 yards from this airstrip where they fire up the 747. And it was like the thunder of God. It was to watch that shit up close, and all of a sudden I'm like, General Turgidson from fucking Strangelove. Oh man, you should see it! I'm just coming. It was like that, man, but in reverse, watching this thing fucking take off. Because it's such a big, heavy plane, and the surface area is involved to generate that fucking lift. And when it starts to come off the ground, it comes off just so fucking slow, man. And it just hangs there. It just hangs there, man. This huge piece of fucking aircraft aluminum just hangs there like, yeah, I'll go when I feel like it. Fuck it. What you gonna do, bitch? And you just see it go. Oh my God, they're fucking huge. So again, when you imagine something like that, again, assuming it had been a passenger jet and not a missile that smacked into the Pentagon, assuming it had been a 747 as opposed to the 757s that hit the Twin Towers. Again, depending on what you believe, your speculation's as good as mine. A 747 hitting the tower, I'd have believed that. I'd have believed the 747 brought that fucker down just on sheer mass. Sheer mass, Newtonian physics, fuel load, and impact. If it had been 747s that hit the towers, you wouldn't hear a peep out of me about those towers coming down. I'd be like, nope, I'd fucking buy that. But again, considering they were both designed to withstand multiple impacts from 707s. Yeah, but it was 757s. Yeah, 757s are lighter weight planes with less of a fuel load than a 707. Do your fucking homework. Again, your speculation is as good as mine, but do your fucking homework. That's all I ask. Again, this wasn't where I planned on going today, but once you start down that rabbit hole, you go with it, man. You go with it. You follow it as deep down as you feel comfortable. I'm just planting seeds here, man. Once again, I'm not a fucking guru. I'm a crane operator with some opinions. At the end of the day, I am a crane operator with some fucking opinions. That's it. I happen to be, by any definition, a subject matter expert on dozens of fucking topics. Anything that I discuss on here generally, if I don't know about it and don't consider myself a subject matter expert, I'm going to let you know right out of the bat. Hey, I'm going to talk about this. I don't know fuck all about what's going on. Don't know fuck all about what's going on. But I'm going to talk about it, but, you should probably dig a little deeper because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. If I'm spewing, you better bet your ass that I will stand at a podium with any college-educated, self-important, leftist piece of shit, and I will go to the wall for this. I will go to the wall for this. But at the end of the day, not a guru, just a crane operator with some opinions. Take it for what it's worth. Follow it down the rabbit hole. Enjoy yourself. You want to look at a subject matter expert? Ryan is probably that guy. At the very least, we know enough to make for some very fucking interesting conversations. Before we get into the meat of this stuff, that is going to be your rabbit hole for the week. Again, the Bojinka plot. Bojinka. That is your search term. Follow it as far down the rabbit hole as you care to go. Now, before we get into the meat of the stuff, I want to send a shout out to my buddy Moses. He's in the background probably, or maybe not. Maybe he's out fucking chasing grizzlies off the property, whatever. But Moses, thank you once again. You guys, if you haven't already friended Mo Baxter, that is his. And he really doesn't like popping up. He doesn't like having a fan base. He doesn't really like the attention. He's a crotchety old bastard, and we got a ton of history. I feel like I've known the guy all my fucking life. Anyway, he's over in the Montana Hinterboonies, but thankfully he's an Elon Musk fan as well, and he's got his Starlink up and running, and he's keeping everybody posted. So Moses, again, thank you. I hate when I have to bug you. Don't hate me for it. Blame Zuckerberg. Cool. I watch the Dreamlitter haul off 787 cabins every week. That's right, Joey. I forgot you have history with that as well. And Spirit occasionally has an Antonov under contract. Fuck me. I didn't even know. That's fucking crazy. 124 or 225. In all honesty, Mike, I couldn't answer that. Honestly. I don't know what model. I just remember knowing that it was an Antonov from the profile, having that confirmed to me by my supervisor, and when that thing came down, thinking, holy fuck, that is a big ass goddamned plane. So that's all I got for you. Again, if I don't know, I'm going to let you know. I don't know. So there's that. All right, guys. So we are coming up on the end of National Preparedness Month. And I know you're thinking to yourself, well, dude, you've been back on after that month out. You've been back on all September, and we really haven't heard you emphasize the importance of National Preparedness Month. Is that out of character for me? Yeah, kind of. But at the end of the day, a lot of times it blends into background noise because National Preparedness Month is every month here at the Bart Bunker. National Preparedness Day is every day ending in the letter Y on planet Bart. Survivalism needs to be part of your fucking lifestyle. It needs to be something. Again, this is where I differ from a lot of the fucking, hunker down, I'm staying in the shadows, fucking survivalist guys. Dude, okay, bro, vaya con Dios, if that's your thing, cool, that's your approach. I'm not going to fucking judge. Anything that keeps you and your loved ones alive, I'm all about that shit. My personal taste is I feel like it's something that you should just do. It should be as natural as if you were a smoker, right? Without even thinking about it, that every time you walk into a convenience store, hey man, I need a pack of Camel Wide Lights. Right? Or a pack of Marlboro Red, whatever the fuck it is you smoke. Every time that you pull into a gas station, you are going to be gassing up your fucking car. That every Friday you're going to get your paycheck. It's just background noise. It's just part of your life. Maybe laundry day is Thursday. Maybe the day that you go to the store is Sunday. It blends into your fucking life. So when you go to the store, you pick up one 50-pound bag of rice, to use throughout the month, and you pick up another one to put in Mylar bags and stuff away in 5-gallon buckets. And you know that you're going to go to a store like Winco, if you're fortunate enough to live here in the Northwest and other places where Winco exists. Um, you know that you're going to go to a store that has those buckets, that carries the Gamma Seal lids. You know what a Gamma Seal lid is. You know why you want a Gamma Seal lid as opposed to a regular lid to hammer onto the top of those buckets. You know why the Mylar bags go in the buckets. You know what an O2 absorber is. You know what size O2 absorber you need to soak up the oxygen in a 5-gallon pail as opposed to a 6-gallon pail, whether you're using rice or beans or lentils or rolled oats or what the fuck ever you're putting in the Mylar bag going inside the bucket. It should blend into your lifestyle. If you look at the Reverend Bart YouTube channel, the earliest videos that I did, and I really need to get back to that. I really need to get back to that because right now the only thing you're going to find besides those early videos is going to be Sunday sermon stuff, right? And even that, some of it is getting locked out. I've noticed that YouTube has gone in. No, actually, YouTube hasn't. YouTube tried to ding me one time. I contested it. They reposted the video. Facebook, beyond keeping me from going live, they have gotten into my videos and they have censored specific parts of it because a soundbite that I played wasn't copyrighted or had come from another source and I didn't have explicit permission posted. They're doing that kind of sniveling shit now. But again, that's where we're moving over towards BitChute and Rumble and everything else. Remember, boys and girls, plastic is an oxygen barrier. Mylar is. Yes! And that's important. That's very important to remember. And the cool thing about Mike, man, the cool thing about the Mighty Mighty Stone, he and I have been on this tip for a long fucking time. And in fact, he stumbled on James Wesley Rawls before I did. I was still in Mel Tappan mode because in my misspent youth and my early days of preparedness and survivalist stuff, it was the end of the Reagan era. I was a Mel Tappan guy. And of course, Dr. Bruce Clayton, Life After Doomsday, some of the OGs, man. Bro, hey, man, if you gotta go, you gotta go, man. If you gotta go, I get it, man. I get it. Dude, you should not, right now, you should not be paying attention to me. You can always catch the fucking replay, brother. I'm just happy you fucking show up. And again, for those of you guys that haven't been paying attention, I owe this man. I fucking owe this man. I love him like my own flesh and blood. Ryan is the guy that made it possible for me to get on this fucking crane journey. It has completely changed my life. 100% for the positive. So, yeah, bro. Just, Ryan, go. Take a nap. Take a nap. If you find a break, get your ass in the cab of that truck. Take a fucking nap, bro. You can catch me later, man. Thanks for being here. But again, Mike Stone was the guy. He got onto the James Wesley Rawls tip before I did. He was the guy that introduced me to Survival Blog and a whole lot of other websites, and we've been comparing notes back and forth. I've sent him tips. He sent me tips. He's definitely OG prepper in every fucking sense of the word. Now the segue here, like we discussed in the opener, Preparedness Month. Oh, okay. Preparedness Month. And real quick, Emmy, Grocery Warehouse in New Caney had 10-pound ice bags of protein bars, 2 bags for $5. Each bag had about 30 bars in it. See that, and guys, you've heard me. Again, if you need tips, follow my fan page, follow my personal page. I'm constantly giving fucking tips like that. When Emmy drops something for my Houston people, you get your ass out to New Caney, you take advantage of that, you fucking sock stuff away. My wife Charlie and I, when I was in Oregon, one of her visits out there, there was a place in Prineville called Grocery Bandit, right? And it was a lot like Food Co. or Grocery Warehouse for all my Houston people. You know about these places. It was a damage freight and cost overrun grocery, and we found they didn't have the 2 bags for $5 thing, but they had where like all of the protein and Cliff bars and things like that were getting close to expiration date, 10 cents a piece. Now, if you guys know anything about most of those bars, like Cliff Bars and things like that, they are plenty salvageable up to, like the old school power bars were the best. I used to drive a lot through East Texas, and I would intentionally, if I went into one of those way back East Texas convenience stores and they had that one box of power bars next to all the other candy bars and nobody had touched them, and I would check the date. I've eaten power bars that have been 4 years expired, and you know what they tasted like? A power bar right off the fucking production line. Yeah. Most of these are like that. Are you getting the full nutrient density? Probably not. Are you getting all of the value of the vitamins? Probably not. Are you starving to death? No. That's the correct answer, Sparky. I'm not fucking starving. Okay? Okay. It's the same reason when I did my post when I was in Oregon, and you guys will remember the post. A lot of you were cool enough to share it. Hey, for those of you guys who were dickheads and waited around to the last minute, and now prices are starting to spike and you're scared shitless, here's what you do. You guys remember that post? Dude, there's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't recommend to people who had other options. But ramen, right? Is it nutritious? No. Is it healthy? No. Will it keep your ass from starving to death? Yes. Therefore, the correct answer. Of all the ways to go, starvation is fucking horrible. All right? Your body legit eats itself. Okay? So don't be that guy. Here at the Bart Bunker, we are dug in like an Alabama tick, and you know what? They might take me out. We might be overrun by zombies. We might be shot down. We might be raided by federal agents. But the one way we are not going out is fucking starvation. I can guarantee you that. So, anyway, worth it. Preparedness Month, though, man, in the overview, before I get off into the other shit. It should be part of your lifestyle. It should be off in the background. It should be something that you don't even have to think about anymore. Every time at the end of the day and you're doing that last stop at the convenience store, or maybe that first stop at the convenience store in the morning when you're picking up your energy drink, which should be fucking black coffee, but some of you guys are knuckleheads and I'm not judging because I've been that knucklehead. If you're at a gas station, top off your fucking tank. I have a whole video on the YouTube channel devoted to that. Always top off your fucking tank. Again, getting back to I don't have to outrun the bear, I just have to outrun you. Okay? So do that, right? Do that. Make it a part of your lifestyle. When you're at the store, pick up an extra couple of cans just to slap back into storage. When you're looking around for places, find the damaged freight and the cost overrun groceries. Know what expiration dates mean and when they count and when they really fucking don't. Okay, you guys have heard me talk about this before. I have in my stores right now something that I picked up almost 15 years ago, okay, at one of those damaged freight groceries. At the time, they were called Food Co. They've changed their name now, but there's like 6 of them all over Houston. They were called Food Co. at the time, and they got into some tax trouble, and now they're something different that isn't Food Co. But anyway, when they were still Food Co., they had these cases, right, of these little packs of freeze-dried, vacuum-packed coffee, which they were selling because they were getting close to their expiration date. Let me say that again for you guys that are a little slow. Freeze-dried, vacuum-packed coffee that they were selling for cheap because it was approaching the expiration date. One more time. Okay, you guys got it, right? I mean, like, not everybody can be that fucking dim. I picked up 2 cases. They had 2 cases left, and I picked up these 2 cases for $5 a piece. We're talking this by the like the box size of a case of MREs with a bunch of little packets of freeze-dried vacuum-packed coffee in it. Those are still in my stores 15 years later, right? Is it the best tasting coffee in the world? Fuck no, it isn't. Any of you guys who have had the misfortune to visit county jail, let alone fucking TDC, you know that freeze-dried coffee is not the tastiest shit in the world, all right? But does it work? Yes. Is the caffeine content still the same? Yes. Right? Will it wake your ass up and keep you alert when the zombies are banging at your fucking door? Yes. Is it a tradable good? Yes. You feel me, right? Make it a part of your lifestyle. Learn these fucking damage freight costs over in groceries. Put something away. Always have something put away. Don't tell me you fucking can't afford it. Please don't tell me you can't afford it. All right? Even if all you have is a stack of cases of ramen, okay? Again, I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun you. If you have a stack of fucking ramen cases and your neighbor has nothing, guess who the bear eats? Okay? But again, that feeds into the other part. You better have a means to defend that. Do you understand? So blend it into your lifestyle. You don't need to get, I'm not judging you if you are, because there's a couple of you out there and I see you, right? Thank you for not calling me out. But you don't need to be at that level where it's like, yeah, dude, I'm the sinister guy, back in the shadows, everything on me, man. My EDC is 6 blades and 2 handguns, and I am a lethal fucking weapon, and I hang in the shadows, and I have no social media, and I'm buried away, and I have my remote cabin in the fucking wilderness, and okay, cool, bro, cool. If that's your shit, most people, in all likelihood, and I'm not so callous that I don't realize this myself. Most people would find where I'm at on the preparedness level, like, off the fucking charts. And I totally get that. There are people who go way deeper than me, right? And I'm not judging them. I'm just saying you don't even have to be at that level, man. You don't have to be at that level. You don't have to wear it on your sleeve. Just make it part of your lifestyle. Real fucking quiet, okay? Because I can't tell you, I cannot tell you. Canned sardines have more nutrients than canned tuna. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Roman, that is true. Fuck, let me post that. That is true, Roman. But given the option, I'm not a sardine guy. I know this about myself. And so hopefully I won't ever be, hopefully I'm taking the time ahead of time to make sure that I'm never faced with that option of having to either eat sardines or starve to death. You're so full of shit. You're one of them. I lost my guns in a boating accident. No? Okay. You know what, Ryan? You know what? I'll take that. Coming from you, I will take that. But here's where I differ. I did not lose my guns in a boating accident in the same way that I do not believe in the guys that pick up the PVC tubes and bury the fucking guns in their backyard or bury them out in the woods and stuff like that. I have friends that do that. I'm not judging them, but I'm not that guy. Because to me, if the time has come to bury them, the time has come to use them. If the time has come that you're looking at one of the fucking federales and having to tell him, hey man, I lost all my guns in a boating accident. Number one, they're not going to believe it. All right. But number two, they're already at your fucking door. So the fact that you lost your guns in a boating accident means fuck all of them. If it's time to lose them, if it's time to hide them, it's time to fucking use them. Right. So so that is the only place that I would take issue with that statement. But I'm still gonna let you get by because it's you, motherfucker. All right, now here's the debate. Here's the debate over in the comments section. Fish would be great if they made it out of food. I feel the same way about like vegan shit. It's so fucking funny. And vegetarians are funny that way too. Like if vegetables are that fucking great, how come you keep trying to make them taste like meat, bro? If the vegan guys are so, dude. And I noticed this, and I will tell you this. This is a personal thing. It's a personal thing because I witnessed this. I absolutely witnessed this in not one but 2 storm evacs in Houston, where the entire store had been cleaned the fuck out. Everything gone. Like to the point where a dude stabbed another dude for the last bag of fucking Doritos. Not even Cool Ranch, man. Just regular old fucking Doritos. You stabbed him. Put a chunk of steel in his guts over a bag of fucking Doritos. But you know what was still on the shelves? All the fucking vegan shit. All the fucking vegan shit, from the cooler to the fucking shelves to the freezer, all the fucking vegan shit was still there, right? It was all still there. It was like, look, dude, I may be starving, but I got my fucking line. In any case, man, I'm way off topic here. The fact of the matter is this. Don't just make it September. Don't just make it National Preparedness Month. It should be National Preparedness Day every day. It should be a lifestyle for you, and find a way to blend it into your lifestyle. Now, this does provide a neat segue for me, though, because, again, just as I was saying, the same people, particularly when the Democrats are in charge, the same people who are fucker, the same people who are telling you that you need to be prepared, the same people who are telling you that you need to have stuff put away, that you need to be able to save your family, that telling you, which is completely out of character for fucking leftists, that the government might not be able to get there and might not be able to save you. They will turn right back around and say that if you are found hoarding food, that you are a right-wing extremist. That if you have the means to protect the food that you've put away, that you are most definitely a right-wing extremist. If you don't trust the government because inflation is out of control and the prices are spiking and food shortages are already here, not coming down the line, but already here, and going to get much, much worse, then you are a right-wing extremist. You understand that? Funny how the gaslighting works. And they have an entire propaganda department. And guys, make no mistake, and I don't exempt myself from this, and I already know there are plenty of people out there that have already seen me as their ticket out. Why? Because when the shortages hit, any authoritarian regime, suddenly I am not going to be a prepared citizen that saw this ahead of time, that took the necessary means to protect myself and to have supplies put away to protect myself and my loved ones. I'm not going to be that guy. What am I going to be? You guys already know, man. What am I? Am I a guy with a big store of food because I saw what was coming? No. What is the word? What's the word? Thank you. Thank you. Bang. I am a hoarder. And if you think for 2 seconds that this regime or any other is above going on when those food shortages are hitting and people are blaming the government for it, which is where the blame belongs, by the way, and they're knocking on the government's door, don't think that they're not going to be out there like, it's unfair that these ants are hoarding food when these grasshoppers are suffering. It's unfair that these people are hoarding food when their fellow Americans are starving to death. So if you know of someone who is a right-wing extremist hoarder, you turn them in and we will guarantee that some of that stash is going to go to your family. You don't think so? You don't think they do it, or you don't think that it'd work? Fuck you on both counts, right? You don't think they'd do it? Come on. See something, say something? And they're already pushing the hate against the right-wing extremists, the MAGA Republicans. You don't think they'd do it? Oh yeah, they'd fucking do it. People who drop hundreds of dollars on supplies for a hurricane, they return everything when the danger passes. Baby, I see ya. I see ya. All day fucking long. So you don't think the government would do it? Oh yeah, they do it. They're already doing it. They're already laying the groundwork for it. You don't think it'd work? Let me give you the fuck you on that. Let me give you the fuck you on that tip. You don't think it'd work? Here in Spokane, and I'm sure in cities all over the country, but I know for a fact here in Spokane, because the Spokane Police Department had to put out a fucking PSA during the COVID epidemic. Stop calling 911 because your neighbors aren't wearing masks. Stop calling 911 because your neighbors aren't social distancing. And you think that these hashtag Stasi Karens won't fucking turn you in when Great Leader comes on and says you must turn in these hoarders and we'll give you some of their food, and your kid is starving to death? And I'll go you one better. I can't even blame them. I can't even blame them. I blame them for being stupid enough not to have their own supplies put away. I blame them for leaving the responsibility to somebody else. But when it comes down to it and your kid's fucking starving to death, I can't blame them for turning me in. Fuck no, dude. You're trying to feed your kid. I can't blame them for the foolish attempt that they will make on my house that will be the last action that they ever take on this earth. I can't blame them for making it. I can't. That's your child. And when your kid, this is another thing I try to stress with you guys all the time, when your kid is tugging at your pants leg saying, Daddy, why does my tummy hurt? Right? And you know that the answer is because I haven't eaten in 3 days. All of a sudden, that neighbor who's real fucking cool with you and who barbecues with you every fucking weekend, and you guys exchange Christmas presents and sit around in the backyard on a bonfire during wintertime sipping, your inebriant of choice, and you guys are totally fucking cool. That guy will put an ice pick in your fucking head. He will straight up Trotsky your ass because his kid is fucking starving. And can you blame him? That doesn't mean I'm going to let him do it. But I understand the mentality, and you better do it too. You better learn to understand that mentality. Clinton signed updated executive orders 10 and 998 to authorize confiscation of hoarded food supplies. Yeah, you guys need to look into those executive orders. State of emergency executive orders under Bill Clinton, under his predecessor, George H.W. Bush, and all the way back to Rex 84 and Rex 85 under Reagan. States of emergency laws, emergency acts like that give the government sweeping powers, unconstitutional powers that they don't ordinarily have. They're right there. They can pull the trigger on it anytime. Tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. Okay, motherfucker. Go ahead, Sparky. You trust your life to that. You trust your life to that. I ain't the one. We just got to see 2 years of exactly how far our neighbors were willing to roll over and play dead. Okay? Hopefully, if you were smart, you have extricated those people from your life. Or at the very least, if they are family members that you cannot avoid, you're at least keeping them at arm's length. But we got to learn a lot over the last 2 years of the fucking COVID pandemic. We got to see how far the government was willing to go, but most of us already knew. If you're my people, if you're fucking Revs Rangers, if you're a Sinner Sister, fucking Prophet of Doom, you already knew how far the government was willing to go. But I got to tell you, I myself was personally shocked at how far people whose intellect and people whose balls I had previously respected were willing to roll over and play dead. People who I really legitimately thought, who had been tested in other circumstances and had given me the indication that they were people that I could fucking count on, rolled over and played dead. Those people are no longer part of my life. So take that into account. Remember that preparedness is important, but remember how the power structure, how the regime, how their propaganda network will use that to paint a fucking picture of you. Remember that these same hashtag Stasi Karens that were calling 911 for their neighbors not being socially distanced and not wearing fucking masks are going to be the ones turning you in to great leader and the regime when they say turn in the hoarders, when they say turn in the gun owners, when they say turn in the enemies of the state, the owners of firearms, when they say turn them in, these are the same people that are going to be turning you in. Adjust your lifestyle accordingly. Getting back to fucking preparedness being a part of your lifestyle. You should have already started making adjustments. Now, I understand for so many people it's not a possibility, right? I live here in Spokane County. There's a lot that the city government does that is more reflective of the California transplants out on the West Coast. In fucking, in Olympia, Seattle, Tacoma. But the one thing that I take solace in living here in Spokane is that the ones who aren't tweakers, the ones who are down here, the ones who are self-sufficient tend to be more fucking dug in here. Because the government doesn't come to save you here in a harsh winter. And the one thing that I really take solace in, and I got to give a shout out to this man, is our sheriff. And look, there are plenty. Look, I hear you. There are a couple people out there already that are like, Sheriff Ozzy, you fucking kidding me, man? That guy's a cocksucker. All right, fine. We can have that discussion. But in my observation, where it counts, Sheriff Ozzy's my boy. And I'll say that. First of all, how cool is it that we have a Sheriff Ozzy but Sheriff Ozzy Knizovich, wait a minute before I go to bed. What? Before I have to go to bed. Academy has dropped the limits on ammo and clearance goes to 75% off tomorrow. Clearance includes all categories except firearms. Guys, if you're in Texas and you have access to an Academy, you know what to fucking do. And once again, thank you to OG Center Sister Emmy for passing that along. Thank you very much for that. Which, oh, by the way, Emmy, before you take off, I'm still looking for a Mossberg MVP Scout. I'm still looking for one. I've got 3 different people in 3 different states trying to find me one right now. So if one pops across your radar, at this point, I'd almost take a patrol in 308, the MVP patrol. I'd almost take one of those because it's basically the same fucking rifle. In any case, fuck was I going with that? Sheriff Ozzy. First of all, how cool is it that we have a Sheriff Ozzy? Sheriff Ozzy Knizovich. When the hurricanes were taking place on the Gulf Coast and he saw what happened post-Katrina where they were confiscating arms, he was all the way up here. You know, that upper left corner of the U.S. map? He was all the way up here. And he drafted legislation to say that under no emergency circumstances would the citizens of Spokane County have their firearms confiscated. I dig that. When it comes to respecting the Constitution, and again, some people fucking take issue with specific actions, but in the broader view, I see Ozzy as one of us. The way that he has just handled the situation with this Ryan, send me a link. Send me a link, please. Fuck. God damn it. Now I'm gonna be completely. Send me a link. I love this motherfucker, but I can't get through his sermon. And he always sidetracks me in a good fucking way, so I can't even be mad. Fuck. Anyway. In the way that Sheriff Ozzy is handling Camp Dope, the Seattle-like homeless camp down the road, it is literally the biggest homeless camp in the state now. They have 600 people on a fucking 20 square block area of land that is owned by Washington DOT. And Sheriff Ozzy this week, he had his fucking press conference and he said, you know what? I'm the highest authority in the state, motherfucker. I'm the highest authority here in terms of law enforcement. And he busted out the Constitution. And then he busted out Washington state law, all on a Microsoft PowerPoint. He was like, oh, you think I don't have the jurisdiction? Let me show you why. Here's why I do, and here's why I do, and here's why I do, and here's what's going to happen. He didn't slag Spokane PD. He said, I understand Spokane PD wants to do the job, but their hands are tied. Not anymore. I'm going to clear that camp out by the middle of October. I think the man will do it. I think the man will fucking do it. So, Sheriff Ozzy, I know you're never going to see this, but just so you know, I'm glad that at least one fucking law enforcement authority in this area is looking out for us. And again, guys, constitutionally, look to the sheriff's departments. When shit gets sideways, again, going back to prepper stuff. When shit gets sideways, the municipal police departments are probably going to err on the side of the regime. They are going to err on the side of the structure, the system, the power, whoever happens to be holding the power at that time. Why don't you take a look at what Seattle Police Department did because the left holds the power in this fucking state. And when the left's shock troops, those little Antifa maggots, were setting up the Chaz Chop fucking district, the police department abdicated, gave them a police substation. Here you go, and cleared and pulled all their fucking people out. Now, the chief at the time, she fought it. And when she realized that she couldn't overwhelm the power of the mayor's office, who was saying it's going to be a summer of love, when she realized that she couldn't overpower, she walked away. She's like, you know what? Pontius Pilate, motherfucker. I'm washing my hands of this. And good on her. I hope wherever she goes in law enforcement from here on out, I hope that she will be respected. I hope that the people who look at her record will fucking show her the proper respect for what she did behind that. And you're right, Roman. You're right. Make sure you have a constitutional sheriff, bro. I hear you. I hear you. Thankfully, I believe that we do. There are people out there that might take issue with that. You're entitled. You're entitled. And if you can present an argument to convince me, I'm all ears. But everything that I've seen out of Sheriff Ozzie shows me that he is a constitutional sheriff. And when it comes down, he is going to err on the side of the people of fucking Spokane County. I believe that. I see what he does out here in the valley in terms of law enforcement, in terms of solving fucking crises out here in the valley where he doesn't have to depend on PD to get it done, municipal PD to get it done. Because municipal PD, their hands are tied by the fucking mayor. So yeah, make sure you have a constitutional sheriff. But that's part of the lifestyle too. If you are living in a place, no matter how much money you might be making, no matter what it is that keeps you there, and I'm one to talk, man. I let Houston hang on to me for 26 fucking years. 22 of which I wanted to be here, but I let the money fucking hold me there. When the politics where you're living are fucked up, get out. Where the law enforcement where you're living is fucked up, get out. Because if you think it's going to do anything but ramp up from here, you are sadly fucking mistaken. And I don't want to see you guys trapped, as it were, behind enemy lines when it does. Take the gap, to coin a British phrase. You have a chance to get out while the getting's good. Take the gap. Take the gap, mate. Get out. Because it just gets worse from here. Oh, you don't think so? Okay, well, here's the segue from Preparedness Month. The same people that are telling us to prepare are calling us right-wing extremists when we prepare. And, of course, they've declared war on fucking right-wing extremists. This feeds right into the fucking propaganda. The way that they will try to masquerade that it's legitimate fucking journalism. The media, the lies, the gaslighting, the word games, what they call journalism, while shunning what is truly the spirit of journalism. When I think of journalism, what do you think of when you think of journalism? First off, do you think of legacy journalism? What do you think the mainstream grazer, hashtag grazer, what do you think the mainstream grazer thinks of when he thinks of journalism? Does he think of Matt Taibbi? Does he think of Glenn Greenwald? Does he think of Barry Weiss? Or does he think of Brian Stelter? Or does he think of CNN, MSNBC, that fucking Mad Owl guy? What do you think they think of as journalism? It's obvious what they think of as journalism because they are grazers. They are dialed into the narrative. And when the narrative shifts, they shift right with it. This is why I've been right where I've been. Steady and consistent through the whole fucking thing as the Overton window shifts around me. I screamed and shredded shook my fist at God against the excesses of the Bush junta post 9/11, and continued to do so when the mulatto messiah kept and expanded his same fucking policies. But not these other people. Grazers don't do that. They go with the prevailing narrative. So in terms of journalism, what do they think? Oh, it's not those crazy lunatics on the internet. And you know what? There are a lot of crazy lunatics on the internet. The way to discern that is by developing critical thinking skills and observation skills, a sense of discernment. Too hard. Too hard for the grazer. Too hard for the grazer. No. Internet bad, legacy media good. I mean, except for Fox. They lie. Fox lies. Fox lies. And you know what? They do. They do. I wouldn't give 2 flying fucks at 6 rolling donuts for anybody at Fox outside of Tucker Carlson. Not one. Not fucking one. And even Tucker's suspect. Right? Thank you, Joey. I think of Douglas Murray. There you go. I think of Douglas Murray. I think of Barry Weiss. You guys already know that I think of Taibbi. I think of Greenwald. There are a lot of other voices out there. A lot of other voices that are doing legitimate journalism. But you have to be able... Thank you, Mark Stein. Okay. Greater or lesser, but we can have that discussion. You have to develop a sense of discernment. Because the overwhelming narrative, the general acceptable mainstream narrative is always fucking propaganda. What do we know about the official story? What have we said that about the official story? Your speculation is as good as mine. But the official story, the official narrative is always going to be bullshit. There are no exceptions. Do you understand that? Because the power structure has its own agenda and it's always at odds with ours. We're serfs on the plantation, dude. Don't have any pretense higher than that. I'm just a crane operator. That's how I make my fucking living. I happen to have quietly built up a fucking skill set that makes me a relatively formidable individual, but that's not how I make my living. I'm a crane operator. I pay my fucking bills. I don't pretend to have the stroke to be that, yeah, man, I'm going to be the boogaloo guy on the front line taking on the power structure. I'll fly solo if I have to, bro. I'm taking 27 of the motherfuckers with. I'm not that guy, bro. I'm not that guy. I'm that fucking crane operator sitting back hoping, praying to God, any God that's listening, that it doesn't come to that. Why? Because I've seen violence. Because I've seen it up close. You know, blood has a smell. Big enough quantities, blood has a smell. You know, abdominal wounds have a smell. A body that's been decomposing for a couple of weeks has a smell. People that are in fear for their life are on their way out. You ever heard a death rattle? You ever heard somebody screaming like a wounded fucking animal because they're on their last legs and they know it and that realization hits them and overwhelms everything else? You ever heard that? Because I promise you, if you have, you're one of two people. You're either people that never want to fucking be exposed to that shit again and will pray to any God that's listening to keep your loved ones away from it, or you can't wait. And if you're one of those people, you're not one of my people. People who genuinely get off to fucking violence like that are disturbed fucking individuals, and I want no goddamn part of them. People talk the talk, but are you ready to walk it? One of my stalkers out there right now had the audacity to tell me, you remember that you're a student of violence, you're not a practitioner. No, I stay a student of violence because I have been a practitioner. You chicken legs, skinny, pretty boy motherfucker. Again, don't give him the dignity. But I know in a way that you don't. And I never want to fucking see that shit again. But it may be coming, and there may be no way out of it, so you had better get your head around the fucking notion. Not because you want to, but because you don't have a fucking choice. The Boogaloo guys, I break no bread with those motherfuckers. They're idiots. Yeah, Tom, you showed up at the right time, buddy. The Boogaloo boys, I break no bread with those idiots. The Oath Keepers, different ballgame. 3%ers are a coin toss. Most people don't know the difference across the fucking groups. Most people don't understand that the Oath Keepers are former military, former LEOs, current military, current LEOs. And the oath that they're keeping is the one that they took to the Constitution. And that's what makes you a right-wing extremist? What the fuck planet did I wake up on? Segueing into the bullet point about the word games and the gaslighting and the propaganda. There's part of your gaslighting. Gaslighting number one, telling you to prepare, and then calling you a right-wing extremist for preparing, and you're not supposed to look at the inconsistency of that and fucking say anything. Telling you, see something, say something, and we're not fucking politicized. And what happened this week? What happened this week? Shannon Joseph Brandt, 41-year-old man in North Dakota, he ran over a kid. A fucking kid. A kid named Kaler, for fuck's sake. Yeah, dude, he sounds like a real monster. Kaler, with his fucking hair gel. Boy, terrifying. But Shannon Joseph Brandt ran him down. Apparently, something broke out, and guys, we went over this in the opener. I'll show you a picture of the perpetrator, and yeah, boy, old Kaler over there on the right. Doesn't he look menacing? Doesn't he just look fucking terrifying? God damn, man. I mean, I'm triggered just looking at this kid. But the guy on the left, Shannon Brandt, ran him down with a fucking motor vehicle. And do you want to know why? Do you want to know why he did that? By his own, he called 911 after he fucking ran the kid down. And he said this kid, and I quote, was a member of a right-wing extremist organization. And when he saw him on the phone, he didn't think that the kid was calling his mom going, Mom, help me. There's a guy fucking chasing me. He's trying to run me down with a motor vehicle, because that's what happened. He called, he said, this kid is a member of a right-wing extremist organization, and he's calling for reinforcements. Oh, to paraphrase Bill Hicks. Remember Bill Hicks talking about the LA riots? Let's just apply that here because it fits. He's on foot. You're in a truck. I think I see a way out of this. Go. That's all he had to do was leave the fucking scene. But no, he chased this kid down. Chased this kid down with a motor fucking vehicle. This kid, oh God, man, that's a proud boy if I've ever seen one. Boy, the only thing he's missing is a fucking Klan hood, right? Dude, not even knowing the kid, I'd feel safe with him as a fucking babysitter. Jesus Christ. Don't judge a book by its cover, man. Fuck you. 41-year-old man ran him down with a motor vehicle, and on the 911 call said he's part of a right-wing extremist organization, and he was calling for reinforcements, and that's why I ran this fucking kid down with a motor vehicle. I ran him down. That's why I did it. He said that on the 911 call. The next day in his fucking yeah, that's pretty accurate. Threepers are 50% boogs and 50% meh. I'm going to take issue with that on one level only, Mike. I'm going to say the threepers are 50% boogs, 30% meh, and 20% legit motherfuckers that really don't advertise that they're threepers. That's my assessment. Your mileage may vary. In any case, right, exactly. Justice Department classified oath keepers as extremists for taking an oath. The oath that they're keeping is their oath to the Constitution, and they are domestic, violent, right-wing extremists. Ponder that. Don't get blackpilled by it, but recognize the shit and stop making excuses for it. Stop acting like we're not at that point, because we clearly fucking are. But this is the gaslighting. And this is the propaganda. And you know what the news had to say about it? No one initially but Fox, shocker of shockers, no one initially but Fox even brought it to the fucking forefront. Finally, ABC, they reported it. And the way that they reported it, framed it in a way with their specific wording, and don't tell me this wasn't intentional, to make it sound like the guy in the truck had been the right-wing extremist running down the kid. That the guy in the truck was the extremist. They frame these things for a fucking reason, people. Don't you get it? When you think of journalism, it's no longer what it is. It's a propaganda ministry. I don't understand for the life of me why. No, I do. Why it is so hard for people to get their heads around that fucking concept, because most people are pretty fucking weak-minded. Now, if you totally go the other direction, to where there's nothing to be gained, nothing to be gleaned, nothing to be ascertained from the mainstream media, and you will only believe people online no matter how far out their fucking lunacy is, you're still not my people. You understand that? Discernment, critical thinking. If you come to a different conclusion than I do, cool. But if you're taking someone else's opinion as your own, you're taking somebody else's narrative as your personal gospel, you're not my people, man. You're not. And nobody in your circle should be that kind of people either. You guys tracking? You feel me on this? In any case, Next day, the 41-year-old man, Shannon Brandt, when they were talking about his bail hearing, he couldn't figure out why he'd even been arrested. And they said, how should we, judge your bail? He was like, I have a life. I have a house. I have a family. I have things that I'd really not set to the fucking wayside. Really? What did that kid's mother have? What did that kid have? They let him out on $50,000 bond. Let me say that again. $50,000 bond. You guys that know that he only had to post $5,000. He ran a kid down in a motor vehicle, expressly saying that he did it because the kid was a right-wing extremist. He killed this child, and he got out of jail for a $5,000 post. Do you understand that? $5,000, and he was out. What? And none of the media would talk about it. None of the non-Fox media would talk about it. Why don't we reverse the politics here and examine how that would have played out? Bongino is right. It is not hypocrisy. It is hierarchy. Do you understand that? Can you get your head around that concept? You guys tracking on that one? They're in charge. You're not. They are totalitarians by any reasonable definition. If they are not in practice, they are at the very least in doctrine, and they are at the very least that in goal. As stated. How the hell did we get into a place where a 46-year-old man felt okay running down an 18-year-old kid because he's a member of a certain political faction? I can't possibly imagine. Certainly couldn't have had anything to do with the president's fucking speech. Am I blaming Biden for that? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Any more than I'm blaming Trump for the El Paso shooting, or even blaming AOC for the attack on the ICE facility in fucking Seattle. Tacoma, sorry. Words are words. Violence is violence. But you have to understand that there are weak-minded motherfuckers out there, and you're doing nothing to fucking discourage it. He was charged with driving under the influence. Here's the deal. Charged with driving under the influence, felony count of vehicular manslaughter, 1 count of leaving the scene of an accident, charged with DUI. He was let out. To the state radio, he punched the pedestrian, and the pedestrian... here is legit. This is straight from Yahoo News. According to a probable cause affidavit published by Law and Crime, Brandt told investigators he and the younger man had a verbal, not even a fist fight, verbal altercation about politics at a local street dance. Quote, Brandt indicated that the pedestrian called some people and Brandt feared they would come for him, the affidavit states. Again, quote, Brandt admitted to state radio that he punched the pedestrian. Again, he assaulted the kid. Words are words. Violence is violence. He assaulted the kid. He punched the pedestrian, and that the pedestrian, again, I'm quoting, was part of a Republican extremist group. Unquote. After Brandt ran down the kid, he left the scene, went all the way home, and then came back. And when he got back, he called 911. He told the dispatcher he struck the pedestrian because the pedestrian was threatening him. They let him out on $50,000 bond. I don't have it in front of me real quick, but if somebody wants to... What was Kyle Rittenhouse's bond? What was Kyle Rittenhouse's bond? Double standard is not hypocrisy. It's hierarchy, guys. Bongino was right, and it took me a long time to come to that fucking conclusion. Hell, it took me a long time to even follow Bongino, but he's right. He's fucking right. But do you know what the Highway Patrol says now? In spite of the quotes that I just hit you with, this from KVRR local news in the area where it actually happened. The headline, Highway Patrol says no evidence that hit and run was politically motivated. This is what the highway patrol captain had to say. I understand why that happened, but there was a statement made by the suspect when he called 911. There is no evidence to support that this was politically motivated at all. Go back and revisit the quotes that I just fucking hit you with. He got out and punched the kid because of a verbal altercation around politics. He said that the kid was a right-wing extremist calling for reinforcement, and he ran the kid down with a motor vehicle by his own admission because he was a right-wing extremist. And now the highway patrol is saying that there's no indication that this was politically motivated. You guys know Reverend Bart's flip the script rule. Reverse the roles and see how it would have played out. Reverse the politics here. Reverse the races and any fucking violent crime to speak of. See how it would have fucking played out. So what is the strength of it? Why are people afraid to speak up? Gaslighting. Gaslighting. You take a look at what's right in front of you. You take a look at the undeniable evidence. Do I need to remind you guys about the Christmas parade attack in Waukesha, Wisconsin last year? Black guy, black militant politics, posts all over fucking social media, advocating kill Whitey. And you know what? I would defend to the death his right to say those things. That's what it is to be an absolutist. Holy shit, Bart, aren't you being counterproductive? Maybe, but I'm being principled. At least on that, he has a right to associate with whoever the fuck he wants. He has a right to say whatever the fuck he wants. But when he runs a fucking red SUV through a Christmas parade, everything that he said prior to that is fair fucking game. Do I exempt myself from that rule? No, I don't. Let me give you an example. If I get into an altercation with one of these fucking tweaker maggots over here at Camp Dope, even if it's legit self-defense, if I beat that motherfucker to death, do you think for 1 second, and this isn't even a racial thing, because the homeless over there generally are fucking white, because welcome to the Pacific Northwest, welcome to Spokane, where we have 7 black people in the entire town, 8 if you count Rachel Dolezal. Am I exaggerating? Of course I am. Let's move on. I get in an altercation with a white fucking tweaker from over here at Camp Dope. What happens? Everything that I've posted about homeless people being maggots, everything that I've posted about, God, I could clear this whole thing out with a bulldozer and some flamethrowers, every horrible thing that I have said and 100% stand behind, by the way, about the homeless is going to be entered into the criminal record. And yet, nothing about the Waukesha red SUV that magically drove itself through an all-white Christmas parade. And the guy that just happened to be behind the wheel happened to be a black militant posting all kinds of shit about it. Do you understand? But you're not allowed to say that. Why? Gaslighting. You're crazy. Hashtag hate facts. You feel me? Don't get black-pilled about it, but recognize it as a reality. Just like we were talking about in preparedness, let it blend in and become background noise. Realize that if you are part of specific demographics, that it's open season on you right now. Realize that if they put you in front of a jury, even an all-white jury in a liberal fucking jurisdiction, you've got an uphill battle. Realize it and act accordingly. This means in a lot of situations, you're going to want to walk away. Sorry, but there it is. In a lot of situations, you're going to want to walk away. Most. But it also means that when you find yourself trying to de-escalate, trying to walk away, and you are left with no option, make it everything in you to end that motherfucker. Make it everything in you to make sure that there is only one account on the police report. You're going to be prosecuted? Probably. Going to be incarcerated? Probably. It means you're alive to stand trial. That's something that I can live with, particularly where my family is involved, particularly the well-being of people that I care about is involved. I have my personal sentiments, and they're no secret to anybody. If I was ever put on trial in the event of such an unfortunate incident, I would lead with that. You guys are going to hear all kinds of shit, and I stand by every bit of it. That's where I'm at. If your strategy is discretion and keeping your mouth shut until the time comes, I totally respect that. Totally respect that. It's too late for me, though. Too late for me on that tip. But this is the gaslighting. And this is what it's come down to. Part of the strategy is to convince you that you must be completely fucking insane to believe any of these things. Again, how transparent is the gaslighting with what the Highway Patrol is doing there? This guy called 911 and said, I ran him down because he's a right-wing extremist. But at the same time, you're expected to believe that it's not politically motivated because the Highway Patrol said so. We investigated and we found it's not politically motivated at all. Oh, really? Thank you for that, Sparky. And if you look at this contradiction and you see that it's a contradiction and you call it out as a contradiction, you're crazy. We've done entire sermons on the nature of gaslighting. I don't need to revisit that. Gaslighting is not journalism. Gaslighting is propaganda. Gaslighting is making you crazy, making you think you're crazy, accusing you, making you doubt your own sanity for disputing the official narrative. And we're in that 110%. What do you think Orwell would have to say about that? Well, here's where they give away their intentions. The University of Northampton, and this is in England, but universities here in the United States have done the same thing. In January of this year, and this is going to tag back to what we were talking about earlier with regard to Banned Books Week and how it brings out the sanctimony. It's more fucking gaslighting. These same people, the tolerance crowd. You can't ban that. You can't even restrict access to sexually explicit material for kids in schools. That's censorship. You're a horrible fucking right-wing extremist. You know what? You can make a case for that. Limiting access to kids is not a First Amendment issue. That's something that should be left up to the fucking parents. Notice I said parents and not school boards. Do you understand that? If I hand a copy of Hustler to a fucking 6-year-old boy, what do you think is going to happen to me? But as long as it's a cartoon, and as long as the sexual juxtaposition, as long as the coital juxtaposition, yeah, that's my college word, I got like 3 of those. As long as the coital juxtaposition is of a homosexual nature, and the coupling between an erect penis and a tight, possibly not virgin anus, and as long as it's presented in a fucking cartoon, we can put that in front of a kid. No. No. Should it be in the fucking library? Absolutely. But guess what? Parents are not the government. Do you understand? You tracking? Parents are not the government. Parents have a right to fucking say what their kids should or should not be looking at. But again, I'm getting off topic. The University of Northampton slapped a trigger warning on 1984 that it contained explicit material that may make people uncomfortable. What are they always saying about To Kill a Mockingbird? When conservatives, so-called, and I'll take issue with those motherfuckers too. Anybody on the political right who wanted to censor To Kill a Mockingbird or restrict access to it because it made people uncomfortable, that's the point of the book, Sparky. And I'll go to the wall with your ass. That is a hill that I'm willing to fucking die on. But guess what? It cuts both fucking ways. And when it's the left saying that 1984 Holy fuck. Needs to have access restricted because it makes people uncomfortable. That's the point of the fucking book. Thomas Jefferson once said, there is no truth existing on this earth which I would not want known to the whole world. Sally Hemings famously responded, hey Tom, I'm going to remember you said that. Anyway. Okay, that was a cheap shot. I had to lighten it up a little bit. This is how they will continue the fucking gaslighting. You will point out this double standard. I cannot restrict. And you shouldn't be restricting any of it. You shouldn't be restricting any of it to grown ass fucking adults. None of this shit should be off limits. To Kill a Mockingbird, The Story of O, neither should The Turner Diaries. Hate speech, okay, yeah, fine. And what would your point be? I'm a grown-ass adult. I can choose to read it or fucking not. The Anarchist Cookbook, The Poor Man's James Bond. Holy shit, there's formulas in there that show you how to... Nothing I couldn't find on fucking YouTube with an 8-second search. And you're going to restrict access to that? The same people who will sanctimoniously post, banned books week. Fucking books bring us together. Censorship drives us apart. The Washington Post crowd. Democracy dies in darkness. Hey, here's an opinion we don't like. Oh shit, cover it up. Keep it in the darkness. That kind of sanctimony. You really fucking bring it out. When you see these people, and you remember that not so very long ago, these were the same people who were anti-war, and now they've all got Ukraine flags in their bios. When you see these people, who fought in Berkeley, California for freedom of speech and now want every opinion they disagree with shut down forcibly by the government or big tech acting directly on behalf of the government, and they gaslight you into believing that you're insane for pointing out the discrepancy, right? You're insane for pointing out the discrepancy. You're insane for seeing it. Realize that you are not dealing with journalism. Realize that you are not dealing with intellectually honest or ideologically consistent people. Realize that you are dealing with, in Orwellian terms, it's the same ones that are going to call you Orwellian. They are working directly for the party. Understand that and have no illusions about it. When you hear that, the thing that I want you to remember is the take from Animal Farm. When you see the transition from we're fighting the system to hey, the system's working for us, so now we're all behind it. Remember that the same Orwell that they try to cancel was the guy who called this way fucking ahead of time. The same Eric Blair that wrote in Animal Farm. Know who you're looking at, because Mr. Blair laid it out for you. And I quote, 12 voices were shouting in anger, and they were all alike. No question now what had happened to the faces of the pigs. The creatures outside looked from pig to man, and from man to pig, and from pig to man again, but already it was impossible to say which was which. In the final analysis, it doesn't matter which was which. It matters that you recognize them for who they are, and you're ready to put those knuckles up and say, not one step further. Stand for the truth as if your very life, your very family, and your very civilization depends on it, because it fucking does. I am the Reverend. That is the gospel. Appreciate you guys being here. I'm going to pass around that little digital collection plate. Guys, I'm on Facebook Pay. I don't think they got me blocked there yet. But I'm on Cash App, I'm on Venmo, I'm on Zelle, I'm on all the other shit. You can find me if you're wondering where. Just hit me with a personal message. I'll let you know where. But I appreciate it. Guys, the live show will only be on, but if anything that I'm throwing out, like changes it, you want to throw me some coin, I would love it. That's great. That would be fan-fucking-tastic. I'm only going to be, at least the live show is only going to be running on YouTube and Twitter for the foreseeable future, at least for the next 30 days. The replay will still be on BitChute and Rumble, and we're making that transition because we know our time here is fucking limited, dude. I mean, let's be realistic about it. The same people that want to shut everything else down, if they only had the stroke, wouldn't just cut me off here. They would have me and everyone that thought like me locked away or dead. This is the nature of the people. Don't let it get to you. Because at the end, the final analysis, there's still more of us. And we got all the firepower and we got the fucking balls in the spines. So we better find them. Say to that. In any case, man, can't throw me any coin? Cool, no problem. Repost this, particularly on Facebook. They're going to ban me. Let's see what they do about reposting a link to the replay. See where they're really at. For anybody that had any lingering doubts. But we already know. Repost it, man. Spread the word. Spread that gospel. All of my sinner sisters, my prophets of doom, my reverence rangers out there. Turn up the volume, man. Bust it up in the algorithm. I'm still not sure I know what that means. But anyway, a little more exposure, man. Help to spread that gospel. Get out and after it, man. That's what you can do for me. But I tell you what we can do, not for me, but for yourselves. Remember the prime directives. Remember the prime directives, guys. They will try to bury you with the noise. You got to be that signal punching through the fucking noise. Do you understand that? All the distractions, Kardashians, bullshit, background noise, it's noise. You got to find the important stuff, the stuff that really counts in the final analysis. Be that signal that breaks through the fucking noise. And as always, what do we know about this program? No black pills, dude. We don't do it. We don't do black pills around here. Woe is me, America's best days are behind her. We've already lost it. It's all done. Game over, man. Game over. You're not that fucking guy. And if you are, get out. Because I don't have room for that fucking attitude. They will try to bury you with the darkness, man. They aim to dehumanize, demoralize, despiritualize, pick you apart from the inside out. With the darkness, you got to be that light to break through the fucking darkness. Carry this fight on, man, because we're still in it. And I got news for you guys. We're going to win this thing. But only if we follow the prime directive. The iron rule. That third fucking prime directive. You got to be that strength in a world full of weakness. Whole lot of levels for strength. You got to keep that mind sharp. You got to find your spine and your balls. You got to keep that heart right. Get your ass under some iron. Punch a fucking heavy bag. Read a book. Do all of the shit that they're going to classify as signs of white, cis, hetero, patriarchy, whatever the fuck, extremism. Do that! Because it's the strength that makes the other two possible. That's why that third rule, you got to be the strength in a world full of weakness. Because without the strength, you won't be able to be the signal that punches through the noise. You won't be able to be that light in the darkness. You've got to have the strength in a world full of weakness. I appreciate you guys being here, man. I love every one of you. See you next Sunday. I am the Reverend. That is the gospel. Thanks for making me feel a lot less like a lone voice in the wilderness. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Tom, getting ready to give you a call. See you guys in a bit. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I am the Reverend. That is the gospel. We will see you next Sunday. Peace!